This is Collecting Elton, and you're watching another installment of Elton Safari. Alright, welcome back. Allow me to take this stuff off. I don't intend to wear it for the whole video. I actually bought that stuff there for use in the field. Like when I go on Elton Safari, I go to stores and places like that. I thought I'd wear it, and I just don't have the guts, so I'll just wear it on camera here in my basement and show it to the world on YouTube, but I just won't go into a store dressed like that because I feel like a moron. So this is an installment of Elton Safari. I've been on several Elton Safaris over the past, well, like I said, it's been at least 2 months, a bit more maybe, since I've done an Elton Safari video. Anyway, and so this one's called A Box and a Boot. I'm going to show you two items. Well, two items that I found. I'm going to show you more than two items, but this will focus on two items that I found out in the field, in the wild, as it were. And the first one I got at a lot of my purchases, except for the New Orleans thing, a lot of my purchases are local. And I was in the nearby town of St. Thomas, Ontario, which is a charming little town. It's maybe about an hour or so from here, not quite an hour. I was at a store called Records Relics. I'd heard about this store. It's one of two record stores in St. Thomas. I haven't been to the other one. I'd never been at Records Relics either. So I happened to be in the area at the time, and so I made a quick stop in to Records Relics, and it turned out to be a really great store. And so I walked in there, and right away I saw this really large display of box sets. And the first thing that caught my eye in that display was something that I'm sure we've all seen before, but believe it or not, at the time that I found this at the store, I only had one complete MCA copy of this, and it was the 1990 MCA 4-CD box set To Be Continued. I bought it. It took me a while to get the money back when it came out. It came out around, what, October, November 1990. And anyway, when I bought my first copy, I got a cassette copy. And I was happy with that, but then as cassettes, went out and CDs came in, I'd go to secondhand stores and I'd find the CDs without the box, without the booklets and everything. And I just purchased the CDs. I thought to myself, I only need one box, one booklet. But over the years, up here in Canada anyway, it was more and more difficult to get copies of this in good condition, secondhand, and on CD. I'd find one and it would be missing the book, or it'd be missing the purple insert, or it'd be missing one of the CDs, or something would be wrong with it, and they'd still want a ton of money. And I think to myself, my goodness, I maybe should have bought a CD copy back when I had the chance. Because MCA released this in late 90, and by the end of 91 into 92, it was To Be Continued was discontinued. It was deleted from the MCA catalog because the North American rights to a lot of the content on here reverted back to Polygram, which had purchased the Dick James Company back in the late 80s, and so that's when we got the Polydor reissues of Elton's albums and blah, 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 blah. So this MCA didn't make this after that. It did make a comeback after the Universal Music Group formed in 99-2000. I think it was the year 2000. This was reissued. Anyway, without getting too much more into the history of it, I'll just talk a bit more about what it is, although I'm sure many of you watching probably already know what it is. This was released in 1990. It was released here in North America first before it was released anywhere else in the world. It was meant to be a career retrospective. Elton's career at that time was, it spanned 25 years. His very first record ever was Come Back Baby with Bluesology. And it was released in the summer of 65. So summer of 65 to summer of 90, or fall of 90 as it were, that marked 25 years. It's hard to believe sometimes that more than 25 years has actually passed since this was released, because it's there have been other career retrospective packages in the Elton John universe, but I don't think anything was, I don't want to say complete, but as a kid, this box, I already had a lot of Elton John albums up until that point, but this box really unlocked a lot of the periods of his catalog that I did not have. And anyway, the description on the back is a 5-hour musical portrait of Elton John featuring hits, rarities, and previously unreleased recordings, including 4 new Elton John top-end compositions recorded specifically for the package. That's true. We get 4 tracks from the aborted Don Was sessions, aborted because Elton went into rehab. So if that was perhaps a full album in the works that was never completed, I don't know, that's a different episode. But the point is, we get 4 really, really great tracks from those sessions on here. Includes a fully illustrated 40-page booklet with liner notes and extensive interview with Elton and Bernie. And this is where a lot of copies, when you go out there hunting, whether you're doing it like safari, out in the wilderness, out in the wild, or you're shopping online, it's difficult to find copies that have a booklet in good condition. And this booklet came with a lot of really, really great, came with lots of photos of Elton and Bernie and the band members over the years. Came with an interview with Elton and Bernie, an essay by Eric Van Lustbader. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, I apologize, Mr. Lustbader. It's often missing this insert too. It's worth pointing out that, okay, this one, which I got at Records Relics, is my first full Canadian copy. When I bought my cassette copy when I was 11 or 10, almost 11, I bought it in the States. I bought my cassette copy at Record Town in the St. Lawrence Center Mall in Messina, New York. I'll never forget that. So getting this is my first full Canadian copy. The mastering was the same between Canadian and American copies. And the mastering for this box set is just superb. If you get an original 1990 copy, not one of the reissues from 2000, those were remastered and they sound very harsh. I don't have a copy, but I have collector friends that have warned me against that. Matt, don't get a reissue copy from 2000 because it was remastered and they just brick-walled it. The original version was mastered by Tim Young, the great Tim Young, who I'm not sure if he was still at CBS UK at that point, but he was the one that did a lot of the vinyl mastering for Elton's albums in the UK and sometimes in foreign territories too on the Rockin label during the 80s. And he's just a master of mastering, Tim Young, and these discs just sound fantastic. They really do. When To Be Continued was released the following year in the UK, the artwork was a bit different. And I believe the story is that Elton just didn't appreciate the rather over-the-top concept of the American box, which he liked and approved. But a year later, after rehab, he was trying to simplify and get away from what he thought was maybe a bit garish. As far as collecting purposes go, if you're shopping online or if you're out there in the wild on your own Elton Safari, you come across a copy of this, how do you know a reissue from an original? Because they are very, very close, and just by looking at them, it's hard for me even to tell sometimes what's an original, what's a reissue. Well, if you're looking just at the outside of the box, if you're looking at just the cover, there's no way to tell. Unless, of course, it's still sealed. The original had a hype sticker on it that was very, very wide. And the typeface and the design went along with the kind of design language of the logo on the spine here. The hype sticker for the reissue identified it as a reissue. So if it's a copy that's still sealed and it has the hype sticker on it, then the differences between the two hype stickers should make it obvious which is the original, which is the reissue. However, if you don't have a hype sticker, then take a look at the back if you can. Because one of the key differences in the packaging was that the original has a hinged lid. Like it opens like this to the side, okay? The reissue did not have a hinged lid. Okay, with the reissue, the lid comes completely off, like you're opening a box of chocolates. So if you're looking at the outside of the box, you look at the back panel, have a look for this paste down on the right of the back panel, okay? The other thing is that, oh, I already have these up. The reissue came with a book that looks exactly like this. It's identical, but the reissue did not come with one of these, okay? If you get a chance to look at the discs, here's one key difference. The discs, okay, on the original were a plain silver with a clear plastic hub with black text. The reissue copies, okay, were not plain silver face. They had different pastel colors screened onto them, solid, with the To Be Continued logo on those. So again, just looking at the discs, that's how you can tell an original MCA from a reissue. I'm glad I have this. Like I said, it was a long time before I got a second copy. So I now have, I have the UK one, I have my original cassette one. This is going a little longer than, did I show you what the cassettes look like? It isn't quite the same effect because the cassettes have the same kind of puzzle piece design, but it's not, it doesn't make quite the same impression, does it? No, it doesn't, but I can remember seeing that for the first time. The day I bought this would have been the first weekend in July 1991. I bought this. It took me that long to get the money. I was only 10 years old, so you know, I got like $2 a week allowance or something like that. So yeah, it took me a long time to get the money for this. The other thing that I found at Records and Relics in St. Thomas, after finding the box set and deciding, yeah, I'm definitely getting this, because it was a good price, fair price. I went to the Elton vinyl section and went through it, and it had lots of great stuff there, but very little I didn't already have. But then I found this, which I didn't have. This is a bootleg. Okay, it was released on, I think the label was Stein-o-Wisky platter. These bootleg labels had weird names, you know, but it was a West Coast bootleg label, and this was released in 1971. It is believed to be an audience recording made during it was either November or December 1970 Elton's concert at the Santa Monica, California Civic Auditorium. Most sources agree that that's the source of the audio for this. Other sources suggest that it was a gig in San Bernardino. Either way, it's the sound quality is pretty good, and you can tell this is before bootlegs really started getting ambitious with their artwork and design. I haven't cleaned this yet, so it's still in its factory inner, but it's yeah, Country Comfort by a band called Johnny and the Jets. This is 1971. So Benny and the Jets hadn't been written yet, so that's kind of an odd coincidence, yeah. So the performance included Your Song, Take Me to the Pilot, Country Comfort, 60 Years On, Border Song, Honky Tonk Woman, Burn Down the Mission, Give Peace a Chance, and the outro. Obviously not the whole show. This is one of the earliest Elton John bootlegs ever, but most of the other bootlegs that came out around the same time were from the 17-11-70 show. So this is one of the earliest, possibly the very earliest non-17-11-70 Elton bootleg. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. It wasn't too much money, and so I got it. So those are my two catches, or at least the two that I'm going to cover for now in this video. I have another video that I'm making just after this, which is going to look at other Safari finds. I'll be wearing the same shirt just to prepare you. Go Leafs, and congratulations to Austin Matthews finally for making captain. It's about time that Austin was the captain of the Leafs. So that's got nothing to do with Elton John, but hey, thanks for watching.